How do you subtract positive and negative integers? Have you ever wondered how to subtract positive and negative integers? It might seem tricky at first, but once you grasp the basic concepts, it becomes quite simple. Let's break it down step by step. First, it is essential to understand that integers are whole numbers that can be positive, negative, or even zero. When subtracting integers, we can think of subtraction as adding the opposite. This means that when you want to subtract a number, you can add its opposite instead. For instance, if you have a number, a, and you want to subtract b, you can rewrite it as a plus negative b. Now let's look at subtracting a positive integer. When you subtract a positive integer, you are essentially moving to the left on the number line, which decreases the value. For example, if you start at 6 and subtract 3, you move 3 units left, landing on 3. This can also be expressed as 6 plus negative 3, which equals 3. On the other hand, subtracting a negative integer is a bit different. When you subtract a negative integer, it is the same as adding its positive counterpart. This action moves you to the right on the number line, increasing the value. For example, if you have 14 and subtract negative 4, you can think of it as 14 plus 4, which equals 18. To generalize, when you want to subtract any integer b from a, you can change the subtraction to addition and switch the sign of b after that. You simply add the two numbers together. For instance, if you have negative 23 and want to subtract negative 45, you can rewrite it as negative 23 plus 45. Next, let's talk about determining the sign of the result. When you add the two numbers after changing the subtraction to addition, consider their signs and absolute values. If both numbers share the same sign, you add their absolute values and keep that common sign. However, if the numbers have different signs, you subtract the smaller absolute value from the larger one and take the sign of the number with the larger absolute value. Here are a few examples to clarify. If you take 1 and subtract negative 9, it becomes 1 plus 9, which equals 10. In another case, if you have negative for and subtract negative 8, it turns into negative for plus 8, resulting in for since 8 is greater than 4. If you subtract 2 from negative 3, it becomes negative 3 plus negative 2, which equals negative 5. Lastly, if you subtract 12 from 8, you get negative 4, as you are subtracting a larger positive from a smaller positive. Understanding how to subtract positive and negative integers is not just a math exercise, it has real-world applications. You can use this knowledge when calculating temperature changes, managing finances, or navigating elevations above and below sea level. By grasping these concepts, you can confidently tackle integer subtraction in various contexts.